Good evening and welcome to Season 2, Episode 13 of the KCCFC TV show. The highlight of the week being that 45th minute penalty decision at the Kabaka Chabagu Stadium that many think should have cost KCCFC that game. We'll bring to you the reactions from the players, the fans and the coach of KCCFC after last week's games, and also the build-up ahead of the games next week, that is Busoga United vs KCCFC in Jeru, and also KCCFC vs UPDF at the MTN Omondi Stadium. A plethora of stuff, guys, on the show tonight. I'm your host, and Magero Mwanje is my name. You and I are walking this journey together. Now, to start it off with the club news, remember we have 5 players that are part of that under-17 Uganda national team that are preparing for the AFCON under-17 that will happen in Morocco next month in March. And these are Magogo Shafiq, Mawa Oscar, who was the top scorer in the Sekafa under-17 tournament. Then we have players like Ibrahim Juma, who was also the captain of that under-17 team. Then we have Mwanje Elvis and also Mukisa Simon, 5 youngsters. They're all teenagers. They're part of that team. And this week, CAF came up with the groups, that is the various groups that will participate in this tournament. And Uganda is pitted in Group A, and alongside teams like Morocco, Zambia, and Cote d'Ivoire, or call it Ivory Coast. Definitely other groups having, that is Group B having Nigeria, Tanzania, Algeria, and Congo. And then Group C having Cameroon, Senegal, Mali, and South Africa. So it's well known our 5 youngsters alongside the entire under-17 national team will be pitted in Group B, that is with Morocco, Zambia, and Ivory Coast. So we wish them all the very best. The team is in Jeru training very hard to make sure they're really in shape and physically fit, plus everything emotionally, mentally for this tournament. And we know, just like the under-20 have done in that is the AFCON under-20 tournament, they will be the same thing with the under-17 team. So we know they're going to represent the club quite well, that is KCCFC for the 5 youngsters and the entire Uganda team, that is the Uganda, the nation, the entire team. So we know they're going to represent and fly the flag and the banner of Uganda high. So all the best, guys. At least now you know the group that will be participating in this tournament. Go shine. Now we dive straight into the Star Times Uganda Premier League, and it's just getting hotter and hotter, I should tell you, because this week the club played game number 8 and game number 9 of the league this season. And we'll start with game number 8, and that was Wakiso Giants Football Club versus KCCFC. KCCFC traveling to the Kabaka Chabagu Stadium in Wakiso, call it the Wakisha grounds, whatever you could call it. And that game happening in Wakiso, definitely KCCFC did not have some players in this one. Sadata Naku out, and then Dominic Kaeda plus Opio Sande, because they have licensing issues, they did not take part in this one. But we hope they will be able to sort the things very fast so that they can get back to the field of play. Some players missing out because of injuries in Denis, Iguma, Gift Ali, Poloto Julius, and Revita John. The rest of the squad was available, apart from the 6 players that keep representing Uganda, that is in the AFCON under-20 tournament. They also missed out in that one. So quite a number of players that missed this one, but we had an available squad that represented the club quite well. Going into this one, definitely the captain, Charles Lukwago, was available for this one. We had Fillbert, Obenchan, with Peter Magambo and Habadacha in defense, and the midfield with Kezron Kizito, Mugume Ashraf, and Brighton Ukani, and then Musana on the other left side, then plus the player in Moses Aliro on the right side, and then the striking partnership of Mr. Charles Ruanga and Brian Aheebwa looking for the goals on the day. The game started quite well, and it was a, should I say, heavy downpour on the day because it was a rainy day just at the start of the game. Definitely KCFC losing Brian Aheebwa in this one early in the game, and that prompted a substitute, having Chigozi Samson coming on for Brian Aheebwa because of an early injury. And KCCFC kept on knocking on the door and asking a couple of questions to the Wakiso Giants defense, but then they had answers to them up until the 40th minute, when the substitute that had just come on for Brian Aheebwa in Chigozi Samson Andrew opened his account for the football club with a goal just at the edge of the 18-yard box to give KCCFC the advantage in this one. Just 5 minutes after Chigozi Samson Andrew had opened his account for the football club, all hell broke loose in what most have termed a bizarre situation, and that was in the 45th minute of the game when the referee awarded a penalty out of nothing. And definitely Wakiso coming up to equalize that game through a penalty that was slotted by Rahmat Senfoka in what most have said was a very questionable decision by the referee on the day. And KCCFC going to the break with Wakiso Giants all square. After halftime, the gaffer rang some changes, bringing on Juma Balinya in place of Bright and Okani, and also later on in the game, Loro Mazengo Stefano replacing Kezron Chizito. Those are the only substitutions the gaffer made on the day. And finally, the full-time score ending 1-1. And that meant that Wakiso Giants recorded their 8th draw of the season. Guys, these guys have played 9 games, but they have 8 draws and have only won 1 game, meaning they have not lost any game, but they have 8 draws. It's quite fantastic for them, I should say. Because, and then for KCCFC, that meant the club recorded the 14th point for this league, that's this season, in 8 games. And definitely after the game, we caught up with the coach and the players and the fans of KCCFC. We'll be getting to know that later on the show. But first, we took to our Twitter, that is on social media at KCCFC, and then we carried out polls that is on the KCCFC Twitter handle, and we shared polls with Wakiso Giants Football Club yesterday. Who was your man of the match? Hashtag WGFC KCCA, then hashtag StarTimes UPL. And then the 4 players that featured on our poll were Obenchan Fillbert, who had a very fantastic game on the day, keeping out all the challenges and all the questions that were asked by the Wakiso Giants forwards. And then Magambo Peter, who everybody accepts that has really risen into, I mean, very top-class defender for the football club. Then Chigozi Andrew Samson, who came on as a substitute early in the first half for Brian Aheebwa and also scored his first goal for the football club. He played as a striker on the day. And then finally, Aheebwa Achai, who played as a left back and really thwarted everything that was brought towards this side. And then the fans responded on Twitter. The poll was 1 day, and out of the final results, we have Obenchan Fillbert on 19%, Magambo Peter on 34%, Chigozi Andrew Samson on 34%, and Achai Herbert on 12%. That meant we have a tie in Magambo Peter and Chigozi Andrew Samson on 34%. That is, as per the KCCFC fans, all the faithfuls that voted, that is on the poll that we put up on our Twitter handle, that is at KCCFC. Now we'll be going to a break, and when we return, we have the reactions from the gaffer, Mike Hilary Mutebi, after that game between Wakiso Giants Football Club and KCCA Football Club that happened at Wakiso, and also the players of KCCFC and the fans. Everything after this break. Now welcome back from that break. I told you we caught up with the fans, the players, and the coach of KCCFC. But first, we caught up with the gaffer himself, Mike Hilary Mutebi. And just like the norm has been at KCCFC, the coach always speaks to the pressmen just shortly after the break. And like it has always been for Mike Mutebi, he had a lot of things to say after this game, and we'll be getting to know shortly. But for me, what caught my attention, no, I don't want to spoil it for you. This is what the gaffer said when he caught up with him after the Wakiso Giants vs KCCA Football Club game at Wakiso.
First of all, tutya nnyo okuzannya tutya nnyo okupaasinga omupiira tubanga oba abaana bagamba okupaasinga omupiira obanga oba abawadde ekibonerezo. Now, bw'oba tosobola kupaasinga omupiira tewali kintu kyonna kyonna ky'osobola. The whole game, I think I was impressed by this goal. So whatever. Yes, you could see somebody is really coming here to play football and try to enjoy himself and try to give spectators something, try to write something home about. The rest of the players just shovel. absolutely nothing. Nothing. Rugby game. You can imagine players like Balinya Juma, the ones you would think that could do something. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now that shows you I go back to my young players. They understand the game better than all these ones. Because you can imagine, what did Balinya do? Nothing. K0 running all over the place, doing nothing. But these are players who have been playing football for the last 10 years also. You would say their experience would help these others who are young. Play. But that is it.
Now that is the gaffer himself, Mike Larimotebi, coming up to say the game was ramshackled. To him, that's his opinion because he's the coach of the club. He says he was bored by a lot of physicality in the game. There was nothing to write home about. And he says he was only impressed by that youngster, the captain of Wakiso Giants, Senyonjo, who had a very good game, I should say, on the day. So that is the gaffer's opinion. Gonen didn't catch up with the gaffer. We caught up with the players of KCCFC. The guy who scored his first goal for the football club, Chigozi Samson Andrew, and also players in Charles Rwanga, who had a good run before that game against Wakiso. He had scored 4 goals in 3 games. He scored, the guy scored the goal against Express Football Club. He scored 2 that was in the game against Maida Football Club, and he also scored against Bull. He only missed scoring against that team, that is Wakiso Giants Football Club. We also caught up with Herbert Achai, and this is what the players of KCCFC had to say after that draw between Wakiso Giants Football Club and KCCFC.
Dropping 2 points was like just sometimes you never blame also the referee. Pressure beats there. I was on pressure. For me, I don't blame him. Like it was just a bad day for us. We would have taken the 3 points. Yeah, we lacked like consistency up front. Rwanga and Chigozi, they lacked combination play, and I think they got exhausted earlier.
Mpira gwa leero twali tweteeseteese bulungi nga mpira gy'okwawe tegiba myangu. Twakulembedde twasoose otteeba ne batugatta, batukubye penalty ng'ebula eddakiika emu. Ne tukomawo second half ne tunoonya goolo ne tukola amaliriso ne kigaana, twesetinga kati omupiira guddako.
The fact that Aheebwa is now out, we have to chip in and we also help the team to score goals. Like it's not only their responsibility to score goals only. They help us in defending. We also have to help them in scoring as well.
Kiba kinteekako pressure kubanga tinsigaddewo omu te nina obuvunaanyizibwa buba bungiko kale okuteebera ttiimu yange era ndasigala nga nteeba. Waawo leero kigaanye. Ninga ngenda kuteeba mpira egiddako, ngenda kukola nnyo nsobole okuteeba.
Now those are the reactions from the players of KCCFC, and the highlight in this one being Chigozi Samson Andrew, who opened his account for KCCFC in that game between Wakiso Giants Football Club and KCCA Football Club. The player coming out to say that now he has scored his first goal for the football club and he expects to score more goals for the football club. The player came in from Police Football Club last season. He scored many goals for that club, and that is one of the reasons why he came to KCCFC after the technical team thought that he would add something to the team. And you've heard it from him. He says that he will be able to score more goals for the football club. We also caught up with the fans of KCCFC, and this is what they had to say after that game in Wakiso.
Ennaku zino tubadde n'abasambi nga bakoowu ttiimu nayo ekola ki ekoowa. Naye abasambi bagenze bakomawo nga beekuŋŋaanya. Naye kati olwali tusambye ttiimu nga tusamba Wakiso naye nga tusamba abantu 12. Omuntu we 12 abadde liifu.
Omupiira gulimu ebintu bibiri. Tosamba naye wabaawo ne laaka. Maybe tetubadde ne laaka eyo ensonga lwaki twangudde kapiira, and maybe ekintu ekirala waliwo okwebakira. There was an unfair judgment. Nze ndowooza bye bitulemeseza wangula akapiira naye nga generally tusambye bulungi.
Tufunye emikisa tubuzeemu ekintu kye bayita maturity awo mu maaso. Omuntu amanyi ekyokukola singa tuwadde n'omuntu nga Juma ng'alina alimu nga ku maturity tuba tusobola okula kyoggoba omupiira ogwaliwo naye abaana abaddewo nga tebalina bulungi maturity. Esembera obulungi ku ggoolo eyo.
Tukirize tugaane tiimu yaffe ezannye bulungi nnyo omupiira gwa leero. Ffe ng'abawagizi etuwadde essuubi ly'amaanyi nti ejja kuwangula emipiira. Naye tulabye barefali abali substandard. Barefali baffe bali substandard. Omwana gwe bakubye engato Brian Aheebwa bamukubye engato maaso ga refu ng'amulaba n'agaana ofuuwa omwana bamutwalidde mu ambulance. Tugenze okulaba penalty refu gy'agabye ebadde teriiyo. Penalty alaze obwa substandard ne balayina baffe. KCCA naye nga ye ttiimu esamba obulungi ennaku zino.
Oli yeesudde bwesuuzi nga tewali amukonyeeko olw'ensonga nti ttiimu yaffe yo nga geyina ssente abaana baffe balya bulungi tetujja kwewaana naye kati nga bano abaana ba Wakiso banafu babulamu amaanyi n'okulya n'okubalabira obulungi. Kati omusambi buli asamba nga alya bulungi nga masasula bulungi wajja mu kisaawe abeera ali ku bizinensi ssente zaafuna nga alina okusasula ki omusaala ogwo gwe bamusasulira. Kati ono wamukonyeeko obukonyi amwekonyeeko n'agwa yekka liifu olw'okuba yalidde ssente n'asongawo nti penalty.
Ne refali naye afuye bubi nnyo olw'ensonga yeekubidde nnyo sayidi eri eya Wakiso Giant utalaze nnyo bwenkanya. Kuba oli defenders ekola ki omu attackinga oli amwekuteko bwekwasa ate n'agweri.
Injuries ezo ezirimu ez'abasambi abo kakati ayinza obbaga olabye Aheebwa ne Balinya naye ne match we badde after the final whistle godi agudde wansi musana era bamukozeko fawula kumpiira gubadde gubiri naye kyensuubira nti naye alabika afunyeemu obukozekoze n'abalabye tutalabye kati ku bizibu ebingi olwedde club byeyina bw'oyongerako injuries ezo kyemanyi kitukosaamu era ne progress yaffe ebira ekendeera olwa injuries ezo era kyensuubira nti kijja tukosa mu bbanga erigenda awo maaso.
Baliifu balayina match officer bonna bafu balya buli ssente mpira gwa Uganda bagwonoonye n'okulya enguzi kyekireese obuzibu mpira gwa Uganda.
Interesting opinions from the fans of KCCFC, and I should tell you those are the opinions for the fans of KCCFC, not the opinions of KCCA Football Club. And what caught my eye and my attention in this one, the fans coming out to say they were not happy with the officiation on the day, saying that penalty in the 45th minute broke the resolve of the football club, and that is the players on the pitch on the day, and saying that had it not been for that penalty, because they think the penalty was never there, it's quite questionable. According to the fans of KCCFC, we respect the opinions, and we normally have these segments on the KCCFC TV show, that is the fan zone segment, where the fans say it as they want. And I should say again, those are the opinions of the fans of KCCA Football Club, not the opinions of KCCA Football Club. Now, we also had another Star Times Uganda Premier League game this week. That was match day number 9 between KCCFC and Kitara Football Club, a new team in the league. Quite an interesting game in this one. And here are the highlights of everything that took place in that game at the MTN Omondi Stadium.
Goal number 1 for KCCA.
Now welcome back from that break. We have the build-up ahead of the StarTimes Uganda Premier League games next week. That is Busoga United vs KCCFC away in Jinja, that is in Jeru. And also the home game on Friday, that is KCCFC vs UPDF. That's also another team that joined the StarTimes Uganda Premier League this season. That is for the 2020-2021 season. And we'll start with that between Busoga United. We played this team last season, and the game in Jeru ended 1-0 in favor of KCCFC. A wonderful free kick struck by Mustafa Kiza, a player that has moved on to the MLS, that is in America. And he struck quite a wonderful free kick, I should say, because the keeper really stood no chance. For those that happen to have watched that game, I'm quite sure you, at least if you missed that one, you watch the highlights on the KCCFC YouTube page. So KCCFC coming out strong on this one, and the team now visits Njeru once more in hope of getting another win. And just to give you the team news from KCCFC, definitely KCCFC, all the three keepers available, that is Charles Lukwago, the captain, Mwerusi Ali, and Matovu Hassan. The defense is quite energized in this one because we have Dennis Iguma back, and then we have Fillbert, Obenchan, Magambo Peter, who keeps on rising to the occasion every game that he plays this season. He's really putting in a shift, I should say, together with Herbert Achai, another player that came in from the KCCFC Soccer Academy in the past years. Those are the defenders that the club has for the day. Musa and Hassan available for this one. The midfield having Kezron Chizito, Mugume Ashraf, players in Brighton, Ukani, all available for this one. Moses Aliro. Definitely the forward line with Brian Aheebwa and Charles Ruanga, hoping that he can add more on his goals. And also players like Sadata Naku that looks to have sorted his licensing issues, and he should be available for the games this coming week. So all that that is for the availability of the squad that KCCFC takes into the games next week between Busoga United and KCCFC, and also that game that is KCCFC vs UPDF at the MTN Omondi Stadium. Now we caught up with the coach of KCCFC, Mike Hilary Mutebi, together with the players of KCCFC, and they said quite so much ahead of the games next week between Busoga United and KCCFC in Jeru, and also KCCFC vs UPDF at the MTN Omondi Stadium. This is what they had to say ahead of these games next week.
First of all, it will be on turf, and we also play at turf. The pitch will favor us most. We shall play our way. Mostly pitches in our way affect us because we can't play our way. The pitch is bumpy like today. We almost conceded because of just the bumpy pitch.
Twetaagira ddala obubonero, tetwagala kuddamu kuluzinga mupiira gwonna. Era empiira tugenda batugiwangula, buli gemu gye tusamba tugenda batuwangula.
Naye tulina n'okumanya nti ne club endala beeterezezza nga bwe bazannya, naye ffe tulina kutereeza byaffe tulabe nti tukyali mu marathon.
Powerful opinions from the players of KCCFC and the gaffer himself ahead of those games next week against Busoga United in Jeru, and also later on in the week versus UPDF Football Club, a team that has just joined the StarTimes Uganda Premier League this season, that is 2020-2021. We also caught up with the fans, and they gave their predictions and the opinions ahead of those games next week.
Omupiira oguddako gwa Busoga kwawe ekisaawe nga tugenzeewo batukalubiriza abasambi baffe tetumanyi lwaki, ne tugezaako okwerwanako ne baliifi basinga otulemesa kwawe okugoba emipiira. Ttiimu ya Busoga kale naffe wadde tetuli bulungi abasambi, tulina abasambi bangi abalwadde. Balinya Juma katusabe Katonda wanaaba waali tumusabira yangu okuwona, naye tulinawo Luwanga ajja kukola ki, ajja kusobola okuyimira mu ngatto nga Balinya Juma takola kitaliiwo. Tujja kwekuŋŋaanya wakiyi tumukube nga 2-1. Baliifu banaatu bakoze eki tebatuteganyiza. Kuba baliifu ba Uganda balera nnyo ttiimu emu ya Viper, tetumanyi lwaki.
Okujjako emipiira gya wabweru kye tutandise okulaba kati, barefu be batuzannya obubi. Naye ng'amazima gennyini ttiimu egenda etereeza mu buli kimu. Ttiimu yaffe eteredde engeri gy'esambamu omupiira gwayo. Tugyebaza, naye emipiira gyonna gy'esambira ewaka, eryo ssuubi tugenda guwangula. Busoga we tunaagendayo katugikube at least goal 3. Kye twakoze Maida ng'ezze tukyalidde.
Timu ezo nga Busoga ezirinamu nnyo omukisa kuba ensonga era ebadde egenda kwawe ne ku mundi guli twagenda kwawe ne tusobola okugoba omupiira. Ate kati nga ezo ttiimu empya kiba kizibu nnyo okugoba KCCA
nze nsuubira nti kyandibadde kirungi nnyo ensooka tuwangula guno gwe tugenda osooka osambe then ne tubuildingira okuwangula ogunaddako naye ebyo byonna byetaagamu preparation maybe n'okuteekamu ku bazanya osanga bano abasamba cause for the first 3 matches tubadde ne almost the same lineup twongeremuko ku fresh legs osanga abazanyi bakoye bali exhausted then nsuubira nti ekyo twandibadde tuyinza okukola
tiimu yaffe ekisooka erugogo etubeera erugogo tusamba bulungi naye obuzibu obuliwo kale nti Brian Aheebwa yadde akulembedde abateebi mu kirabu yaffe ate n'ekirala ne Ssenyonjo gwe yali naye taliiwo naye tubadde tugumiikiriza nga agenza apiikinga na bano balwanga abakola ki abaliwo Lwanga musambi mulungi era Brian Aheebwa wagenze nava ku kisaawe agezezzaako bambi okubanga akola ki ayimira mu ngato za Aheebwa naye atuuka ekiseera n'abanga akola ki ng'akoowa tayinza kusamba Brian Aheebwa
nze ku opportunity yange kyembadde njagala asoosemu ku bantu abalina maturity kyembadde njagala aweeko Juma oyo omukisa abe nga atandika
omupiira gwe tunaasamba nga tuli kwawe tugenda guteeba goolo 3 KCCA ejja kuba goolo 3 nsuubira we banaleeta omuzannyi waffe anaaba atali ku injury we banaleeta omuzannyi waffe gwe tusinga okwesiga striker waffe omulungi Brian Aheebwa ajja tukubira goolo zaffe ze twagala 3
ekintu ekyabadde kikoleddwa ekisooka akulira baliifu bandibadde bamuyiwa kakiiko konna bakayiwa kuba ebizibu byonna biza bibeera buli sizoni ne bivaayo sizoni eri ne bibeerayo eyokubiri ne eyokusatu tewali kikola ki yensonga ki ne baliifu baffe tebatwala wano genda nti tulina emipiira gye tulina egya kontinenti egy'amaanyi tibalondeyo baliifu nga bwe batwanga Basintomusange batwanga Bamasembe batwanga Basengonga olw'ensonga bali bafuwanga bulungi nga bafuira ku mazima naye bano baliifu be tulina omutindo guno ligimu eno bafu yensonga ki bafuwa emipiira bafuwa gya wano waka tebayinza muyita nagera ku Champions League nti afuwe tebayinza muyita muntu wa mu Afcon olw'ensonga nti balya buli sente balowooza bya wano byakumpi ebyewala tebabikola ki tebabirowooza era omutindo gwayo gwonna mufu tebalina makulu balinga ddwaliro ly'emulago teririmu ddagala.
Interesting and strong opinions from the fans of KCCFC coming out to say that the club will step up and deliver in next week's Star Times Uganda Premier League games between KCCFC and Busoga United away in Jeru, and also that game later on Friday, that is KCCFC vs UPDF, the new team in this league, and that game will be at the MTN Omondi Stadium, Lugogo. That's been it for this week's show. Remember, we gave you the highlights for the games between Wakiso Giants Football Club and KCCFC in Wakiso, and also the highlights for the game between KCCFC and Kitara Football Club, another new team in the league, at the MTN Omondi Stadium. We also gave you the opinions for the fans, the players, and the coach of KCCFC. Remember, if you missed this show tonight, you can watch it on our YouTube channel, that is KCCA FC. And also you can follow the club on Twitter at KCCFC, on Instagram at KCCA FC, and on Facebook, KCCA FC. We'll be back next week with Season 2, Episode 14 of the KCCFC TV show. My name is Magero Mwanje. Have a good night.